Have you ever replayed the same cringeworthy moment from years ago at 2 a.m. for no reason at all? A joke that didn't land. A sentence you wish you'd said differently. Your brain drags it back out of storage and plays it on a loop, as if it happened 5 minutes ago instead of 5 years. Why does it do that? And why does it seem to happen most right when you're trying to fall asleep? It seems like a glitch, a cruel one, but it isn't random and it isn't a malfunction. It's actually one of the oldest systems your brain has doing exactly what it was built to do. To understand why, you have to go back to a time when embarrassment wasn't just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. For most of human history, people didn't live alone. They lived in small, tightly bound groups, and their survival depended entirely on staying inside that group. There were no hospitals, no supermarkets, no strangers to fall back on if things went wrong. If you were cast out, you didn't just lose your friends. You lost your food, your protection, your chance of finding a mate. Your entire future. Being rejected by the group wasn't a bad feeling. It was, in a very real sense, a death sentence. So the brain evolved a very specific alarm system, not for physical danger like a predator in the grass, but for social danger, the kind that could get you quietly pushed out. And that alarm system needed to be sensitive. It needed to catch even small social mistakes, because in a world with zero safety net, small mistakes could snowball into being seen as unreliable, weak, or untrustworthy. That's where the discomfort comes from. Embarrassment is not your brain being dramatic. It's your brain treating a social misstep the way it would treat a physical threat, firing off stress signals, flooding you with cortisol and adrenaline, because as far as your ancient programming is concerned, your position in the group might be at risk. But here's the part most people never think about. Why does the memory come back later? If the moment already happened and nothing bad actually followed, why relive it? This is where something called the memory consolidation process comes in. While you sleep, your brain doesn't just shut down. It sorts through the events of the day, deciding what gets stored long term and what gets discarded. And it doesn't treat every memory equally. Emotionally charged moments get flagged as important because emotional intensity to your brain has always been a signal of relevance. Something that made you feel a strong emotion might be something you need to learn from. Fear does this, so does danger, and so does social threat, because remember, for most of human history, social threat and physical danger lived in the same part of the brain. So when you're lying in bed and your mind is quiet and there's nothing else competing for your attention, your brain uses that stillness to go back through the day's flagged moments. And embarrassing memories get flagged loudly because they were tied to a spike in stress hormones in the moment they happened. The replaying isn't punishment, it's your brain trying to extract a lesson. It's asking quietly in the background, what happened here and how do we avoid it happening again? This is why the same memory can resurface for years. Your brain isn't fully convinced the lesson has been learned yet, so it keeps pulling the file back out, hoping this time the review will stick. There's another piece to this, and it's one that feels deeply unfair. Positive memories rarely get this treatment. You don't lie awake replaying the time a joke landed perfectly, or the time someone complimented you. That memory gets logged and set aside. But an awkward pause in a conversation, a sentence that came out wrong, a moment you felt looked at and judged that gets replayed again and again. This happens because of something researchers call negativity bias. Across almost every species studied, the brain gives more weight to negative events than positive ones, and it makes sense from a survival standpoint. If you eat a berry that turns out to be delicious, remembering that is nice, but not remembering it isn't fatal. If you eat a berry that makes you violently sick, forgetting that could kill you. So, brains evolved to hold on to bad experiences more tightly than good ones. It was never about fairness. It was about odds of survival. Social embarrassment fits neatly into the same system because your ancestors' brains couldn't tell the difference between I made a fool of myself in front of the tribe and I ate something poisonous. Both got tagged with the same urgency. Remember this so it never happens again. The problem is, the modern world has completely changed the stakes, but your brain hasn't caught up. You are not going to be exiled from your community because you tripped in front of your coworkers or forgot someone's name or laughed a little too loud at the wrong moment. In almost every case, The people around you forgot about it within minutes. Studies on this exact phenomenon have found something remarkable. People dramatically overestimate how much others remember and judge their small mistakes. Researchers call this the spotlight effect, the sense that everyone is watching and judging you far more closely than they actually are. In reality, most people are too busy replaying their own embarrassing memories to think about yours. So the moment that keeps you up at night, the one that feels enormous and unforgettable to you, has probably already vanished from everyone else's mind. You are the only person still running the tape, which raises a strange and slightly humbling thought. The very system designed to protect your social standing might be the same system now keeping you from resting, worrying about a version of judgment that no longer exists in the same form it once did. But there's something almost comforting in understanding this. Once you know why the memory keeps surfacing, it starts to lose some of its grip. It's not proof that you're broken or unlikable or forever marked by that one moment. It's proof that your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do thousands of years ago, protecting you from a danger that, for most of us, simply doesn't exist anymore. So the next time an old embarrassing memory creeps back in at night, uninvited, know this. It isn't there to punish you. It's an ancient alarm system, still faithfully doing its job, still trying to keep you safe inside a tribe that, in the world you actually live in now, was never going to cast you out in the first place.